Local presenters sharing local stories. ABC Radio Brisbane.
It's not far away from the 5 o'clock news. So I want to spend the next 7 minutes talking about cars, electric cars, because believe it or not, today is World Electric Vehicle Day. And they're coming. You know, you can see it that more and more manufacturers and dealers are releasing more and more electric cars. John Day is the chairman of the Queensland branch of the Electric Vehicle Association. John, how many sort of mainstream manufacturers have released electric vehicles now? Any idea?
Good afternoon, Steve. Well, we've got, if you're after a specific number, I would say
Roughly.
Manufacturers, you'd be looking at 20 to 30.
So that's expanding. Last time I looked at this, it was around 10. That's about 2-3 years ago. So it's starting to really expand.
Yeah, you've got, well, within each manufacturer as well, you have several different models on occasion. So most people would be familiar with Tesla. They have a Model S, a Model X, a Model 3.
Yep.
Hyundai have a Kona or Ioniq. We have various Nissan Leaf. MG has a new one, BMW, Jaguar, Mini Cooper.
Yep.
Mercedes, Kia, Volvo. Yeah, plenty models at the moment.
I know the Chinese now own Volvo, but are there any sort of Chinese manufacturers going to sort of flood the market with electric vehicles from China?
It is anticipated, yes. BYD is one of the brands that has received some media traction lately, and they're getting a bit of a head of steam because they're looking to bring the most cheap EV to the market, probably around 30,000 or something like that.
Okay. My guest is John Day. He's chairman of the Queensland branch of the Australian Electric Vehicle Association. Today has been designated Electric Vehicle Day, which is why I wanted to speak with John, because I drove a hydrogen vehicle, which is basically an electric car, just sort of, but hydrogen is sort of the base product, with Mick de Brenny, the state cabinet minister, last week. How do you see hydrogen-powered cars in the sort of the pantheon of electric vehicles?
I actually saw one this morning, the Hyundai Nexo. Was that the one that you drove?
That's the one.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to be honest, there's probably not much of a future for hydrogen passenger cars because we've reached the point where battery electric vehicles have a strong advantage over hydrogen, mostly because it takes probably 1/3 of the electricity to put into a battery electric vehicle as it does to make the same amount of hydrogen and use it that way. So the economics probably don't stack up that well at the moment from what we're seeing for hydrogen, but for passenger vehicles, but potentially there are other applications for larger vehicles. Yeah,
that's what Mick de Brenny and his Q Fleet advisor said, probably trucks and buses more likely for hydrogen powered.
Yeah. Well, when you can charge up at home off your solar, I mean, there's a clear advantage straight away for an electric car over a hydrogen car, and I guess we can talk about infrastructure if you like. That's
yeah. Well, how is the infrastructure going? Because there's a bit being rolled out. So what's happening?
Okay. Well, just a little bit of history. In 2018, the Queensland government were very progressive, and they rolled out 18 charges from Gold Coast up towards Cairns, along the coast there. Mm-hmm. They did a phase 2 rollout that put on another 13 charges, which filled in the gaps in between those ones, and now they've announced a phase 3, which is going to build charging out into rural, like so from Townsville you can travel across to Mount Isa, and Toowoomba out to Charleville, and Rockhampton out to Longreach. But on top of that, we've had arena funding as well, which has pretty much going to put, just in the southeast corner, there's going to be more than 100 DC fast charging stations within the next 2 years.
Fantastic. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's starting to become a serious, credible infrastructure, at least for the southeast.
It's definitely credible, but the one thing to note is that you generally use a DC fast charger if you're travelling some distance, and they're not really a substitute for a petrol station, because the vast majority of the time you're filling up at home, whether it's overnight or during the day off your solar.
Yep.
So this infrastructure is very important. However, it's it's more for long distance trips.
Okay, I understand that. Now, quick question: I seem to recall there was someone trialling, like in Queensland here, with sort of locally made electric vehicles. They weren't sort of mass production, but they were still half decent. Can you tell me anything about that? Are there any locally made electric vehicles?
The ones I know of are Ace EV, and I believe that is they were looking at having manufacturing in South Australia, and as far as manufacturing goes, the only other sort of manufacturing, so to speak, would be EV conversions of older cars into new electric.
Okay, and I think you've got a few members that have actually done that here, haven't you?
Well, the Australian Electric Vehicle Association was initially a group of people that were putting, say, electric motors and lead-acid batteries in their cars. But over time, as the technology of lithium batteries has come online and more advanced electric motors, sometimes people are buying Rex and converting older Cortinas or Suzukis and that type of thing.
All right, I'll be interested to see how it rolls out over time. John, thanks for coming on.
No problem. Thank you, Steve.
John Day is chairman of the Queensland branch of the Australian Electric Vehicle Association.